Originally it was called the heifer groomer, or we call it the fathead in the catalogs. What this one is just the Mac Daddy of the Zoo Cougar. As you can see here, got a Zoo Cougar in this hand and a fathead or a heifer groomer, whichever you call it, in the other hand. I'll show it over here. You can see it's just a little bigger version of the same thing. It's like two Zoo Cougars in one. This fly in the last year probably produced in the Madison for us probably more fish, big fish, fish over 20 than any fly we fished. It's just a big Mac Daddy Zoo Cougar, and it's articulated, so it's got the S swim. I'm going to do it. You can use, again, any hook you want. I can't overemphasize that because I'm not really that loyal to one company, and it's whoever you feel's got the best hook for the job. On this particular one, I'm going to be running a 452 back hook, and then I'm going to run a 472 front hook. And 9395, 9394, or the 1750 Daiichi, whatever hook you like. I still like the ring eye or the flat-eyed hook on both of them. Of course, I always use that on the back hook, but on the front hook, this is just a 4 extra long flat ring eye hook. I'm going to start the same way. I'm going to do the back hook. This particular fly is all marabou on the back. Then it's got a flank feather over top, and I'm going to start with that ring eye hook in the back. Again, I'm using the GX2 gel spun thread. I'm going to work this thing back. I'm only going to have 2 plumes of marabou on here. Same as before, we're going to dig through this marabou and find the best. There's a perfect example of a rotten one. These are fine. Stroke them down to the side. Strip them. Tie it in tip first. Just like that. I tie that, I go beside that underneath. 1, 2, wrap that forward, it's coming underneath the bottom side. Put a little half hitch in there so I don't fall off. And I'm going to go from the back to the halfway point, just like I did with the other one, with the rainbow pattern. I'm going to wrap forward, even wraps, keeping the convex or shiny side forward. Make sure I'm not wrapping over top of it. And I'm going to go to the halfway point. Picking it out every now and then. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing I did with the other one. I'm going to go right over top of it, wrap the thread back over top of the shaft, go right back to where I was, right in the middle. Take another shaft, another plume of marabou, strip it down at the tip. You can see right there. Tie it in underneath. And start right in the middle. See, I don't have it. You can see I'm not trying to match these up. I'll get that out of the way. I'm not starting where this one ends, where I covered it up with the thread. I'm going right in the middle because I don't really care. It's all going to cover up. I'm not worried about having it right next to the other feather. Take that piece off. Make sure it's nice and fluffy. Do your 3 fingers where you take your fingers over top like this and just pull everything back. And then I'm going to go back over it about 1/4 of the way. I'm going to secure this down. That shaft is kind of plucked. See how that, I don't know if you could see that, the thread kind of bounced in like that. This gel spun, you've got to get a pretty good tight base underneath it. It'll cut right into itself and you won't ever secure down. So just make sure you give it a really good pull when you're working with it. Now I've got a pretty nice base, nice fluffy little trailing fly there. And now I'm going to put the mallard flank on, and I want to go over that quickly, but it's important because if the feather's not right, the fly will never track. It'll twist off to the side. And what you're looking for is a shaft that's straight, like this one here. You can work this all together, but you can see that this shaft is nice and straight. It's curved, that's all right, but it's curved straight back, as opposed to this one. This one here is curved. Most of the feather is on this side, and you can see it's spinning to the side. I can't see that change here. So, and you can see how badly this one's twisted. It goes up and around. If you tie that fly or that feather into the fly will follow it just like that. It'll spin upside down. It's really critical when you do a standard cougar that you get these right, but with this one it's also very critical, so it tracks that back hook nice and straight. But you can see the difference. One's nice and straight, and you can see it from the side. This one's got a nice even, and this one's twisted. Bad feather. Okay, we're going to put this right on top, strip it back. I want it to end right at the end of the marabou, or roughly at the end of the marabou. And make sure that that flank feather is, I do 2 secure wraps. I put it right on top, I hold it and secure it down. I want that right dead on the top of that hook shank. Not too worried about this head back here because I'm going to cover it all up with marabou anyway. Just on the next fly or the next hook. Okay. Set that one aside till we can do our wire. And again, we can use wire or we can use the monofilament. I'm going to use the wire. Keep your old scissors. Good use for old scissors. I'm going to take this, I'm going to just go around the cradle for my bobbin cradle and just start and get a little bit of a round to that. I don't want that to be tight. This loop right here, I don't want to be tight. You'll see how I do it in a second here. That just gets it started. You can see it's in there. It's kind of hard to see, it's so thin, but it's just a nice loop right now. I'm going to secure my next hook. This is a bigger hook. It's a 93 95 Tiemco or a 472 Daiichi or a 1750. It doesn't really matter. As I said, there's so many hooks nowadays. Just find the hook you like. I'm going to start right here, the 2/3 point. The reason I do that is just, I'm going to lose this in a minute. I'm going to cover it up, but I can see right here is a reference point. That's where I'm going to start my collar and my head. So I secure my thread on here. Again, this gel spun, if you just tag it with your scissors like that, it'll cut nicely. It's really hard to cut otherwise. Now I'm going to take this loop that I've already made, just got a nice little loop in it, and make sure it's nice and straight. And I just kind of tweak it down just a little bit more, making sure I got a nice fat loop here so it never pinches on that back hook. Just like we did on the rainbow. I'm going to thread this wire through. Just catch it right here. Make sure you don't tweak it anyway. You don't want to have any bends in here yet. You don't want to get a bend in this thing until a 25-inch fish eats it. Then it's okay. Now I'm going to put 3. Now I say 3 beads. It's not written in stone. If those beads, and they're all different shapes really. If one's really fat and long, you might need, 3, you might need 2. If they're all skinny, you might need 4. But it's just, it's not written in stone. It's just how you like to see that underneath. See how that bead goes down right? It's not smashed up tight against the eye of the hook. That allows this hook to go back and forth without getting impeded by the tightness of that if the bead smashes down against the eye. So we're just going to thread 3 beads on here. And I'll show you this, as I just mentioned, that these beads are not all the same size. You can see they're different. This one's tall and skinny. This one's short and fat. The one in the middle is just kind of in between. Just if you want to put 4 on, put 4. If you, I don't care, put 10. Everybody, you know, whatever you come up with, it's your invention. It's just the way I do it. Now on the last one, I laid this down here. I'm going to show you how I do it most of the time. It's a little tougher to do it this way when you first start doing these articulations, but if it's off 1/8 of an inch, it's not going to kill the fly. Again, I still want 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch gap between where I secure the thread and the eye of the hook. So what I do normally is I just go like this and I butt up right here against my 4 fingers, my right hand where I'm holding the attachment. I butt it up, I kind of get an eyeball, okay, that's where I want it. So I just give that a little bend right there, and that's going to be my attachment. So then I put these through, both of them are through right now, but you want to make sure, and you know, this is where it gets tricky if you haven't done quite a few of them. If you bent that and it wasn't, the wire isn't laying flat against the shank of the hook, it's going to be off to one side. And so you've got to really take time right now and make sure, just like with the other one, that this loop, which I can't see without my glasses, there, which that loop is off to the side of the hook, but it's straight up and down. It's running parallel with the bend of the hook. That loop is right there. All right. I'll move this a little bit to the left so you can see. Right there. It's straight up and down. You can see if you're looking right over top the hook, the loop's right up and down. That's the critical point, that lets that fly go back and forth. Put a couple loops in it, take a look. If it's not right, tweak it. I can go forward with my thread all the way to the eye. I'm going to pull this stuff underneath here so it's nice and tight. We're going to have to wrap our hair on top of that, but that's all right. We don't need that to be smooth. So now I've got these hanging back here. Just pull underneath there, take your wire cutters, your cheap wore out scissors. Because I can assure you, if they weren't wore out and you start cutting wire, they'll be wore out when you're done. There. Now I've got this secure, the loop secure. See, I'm always bending these things around. If they're not perfect, and again, that's why we went to the wire, because with the mono, if you didn't have it right, it was never right once you secured it. It kept looping over. So now I've got this nice flank feather, nice flat flank feather. I've got my 3 beads, my attachment straight up and down. Everything's where I want it, and I can proceed. Okay, now that we've got the connection fastened in, I'm going to do the same thing with the skirt that I did with the rainbow. I use a little less now because I'm just using red. The color, you know, isn't really that, I don't know, it's kind of a habit. I use copper with yellow occasionally, but generally on this Fathead series I use red on all of them. It's up to you, however you like. Same way as we did the other one. We're going to put it on the back side first. This time I've got less of it. I've got about 6 or 8 strands of the holographic red Flashabou. And I'm going to take it just past the eye of the back hook, tie it in on the back side, just like that. Get it back there, make sure it's, you know, just adjust it, make sure it's where you want it. If there's 1 or 2, you know, strays, you can get those later. Then just take all of that, pull it around. You do 3 or 4 wraps forward so you get a nice connection. Come back, get them to the same length, and cut them all off. That's just supposed to be on the inside. You're not going to see it much. It's just that occasional little flash of red. And then secure it down here. And now we're simply going to, this is pretty long, this is a number 4, so it's a pretty long shanked hook, so you might want to go just a little bit longer, maybe 4. I'm going to start with 3. None of this marabou is all that great. It's not the best bunch of marabou I've ever seen, so I might need a third one, or a fourth one I mean. We'll see. Same way as before. We'll just open them up. Take your 3 fingers over top of it, cover up the shaft. Now I'm going to move ahead. Each one I'm going to move ahead about 1/4 of an inch. I'm not going to put it right tight. I'm going to move ahead about 1/4 of an inch on each one. Too concerned with cleaning that stuff up because we're going to wrap all over it anyway. Like I said earlier, that the thing I like about, and I try this on almost all of my streamers, I try to build them really light. I don't weight them because I fish sinking lines, and I want them to jettison on the back cast. I want them to spray their water off of them really quick so they're not heavy to cast. You see, I did the same thing on that when I moved forward about 1/4 of an inch. Got her all. Now I'm getting up towards where the eye of the hook, or not the eye of the hook, the collar of the head, of the hair head we're going to spin. Remember, I wanted that about 2/3 of the way up. Just come in, and this one, because I'm going to build stuff underneath it, get that a little tighter. I'm going to go right back over all the feather. Just secure that nice and tight because I'm going to be wrapping over top of this. I just want to clean this up a little bit. Nice tight wraps, and give myself a place to. Now I've got a nice base of marabou here, big fluffy fly. I'm going to take the biggest flank feather I can find. This is a nice long one because I want this one to lay over top of the hook and marry into the back feather, so it's all one. So when it's wet, it's going to look like one feather. I'm going to take, and this is a perfect feather, nice straight shaft, no twist in any direction, nice flat top. Put it right on top of the hook. 1, 2 wraps. Get it secure. Get it where you want it. You want the shaft of the feather going right down the shank of the hook. That's critical that stays right down the middle. If it's off to the side, if it was put on like this, or even a little bit like that, the fly would just spin and twist and go all over the place. So we want it to track nice. So I got 2 secure wraps. Make sure it's nice and tight, and then I can come in and just lock it in. And then we're going to work with the hair. You want to have a nice clean break in the line from one color to the next, so you're going to see that brown line right there. Nice and clean. And then we're going to take a pretty enormous piece, as most hair work goes compared to most collars, because the collar's really a real big aspect to how this fly tracks in the water. It's going to help stabilize the fly. It's going to look like pectoral fins on the side, but it's also going to be helping to keep the fly flat in the water. Just take this into my comb. I'm going to clean that all out. If you do that right, I don't care what kind of hair, you're going to have an enormous amount of under fur. You can see how thick that fur is underneath there. There's no way you can work with this. So you can't over clean the hair. If you do that 10 times and you keep still getting fuzz, you got to keep cleaning it. And that's a cute little amount of hair right there, but it's not nearly enough for the collar. So I'm going to do one more, about the same size. Take a Magnum stacker. It's hard to work with a small stacker because you're going to use so much hair. And then Pull it out, and the tips should all be nice and clean now, right to the edge. And if you've got a few stray hairs in there and you don't like it, just clean it and restack it. I don't try to use the hair. I don't try to use any of this hair here for part of the head. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take the hair in my right hand and I'm going to measure it. I want it a third of the length of the hook, excuse me. Right here, so I butt that up, the hook's right there. So it's 1/3 the length, and then I'll transfer it back. But I want a really big collar. I'm going to come in here and cut it all off, set it on top of the hook. I'm going to do 1, 2, slightly tighter each time, just working it down. I'm going to push my thumb into the top of that hair so it goes all the way around, pulling tighter each one, the third one, and I secure it down really tight. So what you're going to see now, there's a fourth one. I've got a nice flat collar. It's nice and splayed. There's nothing underneath. You don't want it to go all the way around. You want to leave that belly down there bare. No hair comes down into here. If you've got a few hairs in there, just go in and clip them out. But if you do it right, you do the two progressively tighter wraps. Third one, before you do your third one, you push your thumb down. It'll fold it right around. You get a perfect collar. See how nice that's sprayed out there? And you got this little tiny elk hair caddis type head. It's just very easy to secure, so I can come in here and do 2 or 3 more wraps right into it. That collar is there for life. Now for the head, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to clean the hair. I'm going to make it easy to spin. You'll see in there I'm going to make as big a head as I can. I'm going to try to do it with 2 spins. So I'm going to take this hair, and you can see I've used a good chunk of that already. I'm going to take a really nice big piece of hair here. Even more critical than the collar, when you're spinning the hair and you're going to ask the hair to spin all the way around the hook, you've got to clean it. I've got a pretty healthy chunk of hair here. It'll spin fine. This isn't as complicated as we make it. What we're going to try to do is make 2 revolutions of thread around this hair. We're going to lay it in here. I'm going to leave it right on top. And then I'm going to pull the thread straight down underneath it, so there'll be 2 revolutions. And what I'm going to try to make the hair do is, as I tighten the thread down, it's going to spin around the hook. When it's all said and done, I want 1 revolution of thread wrapped around this bundle of hair. So I generally cut the tips off, and then I'm going to put 1, a little tight, 2, a little tighter. This one's a half a turn. It's going straight down. I'm not going to pull it all the way around. Okay, now I'm going to let the hairs on top of the hook. I've got 2 full revolutions and 1 pointing down. As I pull that, you'll see the hair will start. I'm going to do it real slow so you see what happens. It's going around right now. See, it's right there. I've already lost 1 revolution. As it goes around, see, I didn't follow it. Now it's straight down, so the hair's made 1 complete revolution. I had 2 revolutions of thread on it, so what I end up with is it tightens up, 1 revolution. It's nice and tight. It's dug in, you know, I can pull as tight as I want. I got a nice flare. Then try to work your thread out through the hair. Just get in front of it. See, I'm not worried about there's a buildup of thread and that wire underneath there. You don't have to have a clean shank to spin hair on. It's a misconception. You can tie it on it'll spin on just about anything if you've done 2 revolutions. That's the big thing. And selecting the hair. You've got to have good hair. If you don't have good hair, you're going to have trouble getting it to spin. It's got to have that coarsity, that little wave you see to the hair. And you want to feel it. If it feels coarse, it's good hair. If it feels real shiny and satiny, it's not good. It'll be too smooth. You'll find it's really hard to find really good black hair. And I don't know what it is about the dyeing process, but it frequently is tough to find good black hair. Okay, on the second one, same as the first. We're going to do 1, 2, a little tighter. I'm gonna let it spin around, all right? If it doesn't want to turn, you see what I did? I lifted up on the thread and I just got it moving around, but I still didn't, I'm not chasing through it. I'm not making another revolution. I still have just one. I'm trying to get the hair to go all the way around the hook. That'll tighten up. That'll take one of those revolutions off. If you're afraid that you didn't make a complete revolution, go right through the same spot, just like that, and it'll tighten it up that following little bit. But it's nice and tight when you've got one turn on there. And get all the hair out of the way. Just get right in front of it. Gotta be a little careful with these when you get to the end of the eye, because you've got that wire going through the eye of the hook and coming back. It's going to want to let your thread fall off the front of the hook. So make sure you get a nice tight turn or two right there before you finish it off. And just come in and whip the head. Pull it nice and tight. Done. Now we've got a nice big fluffy head here. You draw the razor blade at you. You don't push it on this one. You kind of draw it to make a nice flat. Get in there, look it over, see, make sure it's all fluffy. Everything's ready to be cut. So I put my hand on my vise, I put my thumb on my vise, rest the back side of my hand in my fingers, and I make just a one cut so I can see everything there. Now it's just about where I want it. I just go in and everything's flat. Okay. Now I've got the base cut how I want it. Now, just like with any other time you're working with a blade, that's the reason you use these double-edged blades. You can flex them. As you can see, I put it in between my thumb and my forefinger. I flex the blade to the angle that I want. I don't know how to tell you that. You're going to have to establish what you like. But I generally bend the blade at about that angle right there. Let's see if I can see that on the monitor. About right there that's what I use. I mean, what you use is up to you. I bend it like that, again, stabilizing my left hand on the vise, my thumb's on the vise, putting the back side of my hand against my fingers, and then I can come in here, making sure it's flat so you don't have a crooked head. Then come in here with it bent and then just push right to your collar. Got half of it done. There. Now I've got a pretty good setup. It's about the shape I want the fly. Come in and catch the other stray hairs. Pretty much have it where I want it right now. That's the shape I want. And just catch a couple of these strays here. Okay. Now I'm going to take it out of the vise. I'm going to put it in my left hand, because now I've got you can see I've pretty much got the shape that I want. This is just the shape I like from the heads. I fluff it up, I take my scissors, and I go forward like this, and I pick up the shape. Just come in, and now I've got the shape I want. If you weren't talking and doing this, you could have that head done in 10 seconds. Whereas if you were doing it with the scissors, you'd be here for a long time, like minutes. So I just hit the edges so I've got the rough shape that I want. Just keep pulling the hair up if you want to mess with it. If I was doing this and I wanted to have somebody look at it and critique it, I would sit here and just make sure every little hair was perfectly cut. Going back to my blade, I like to use the blade going into the head this way because it cuts the angle of the hair, kind of flows with the collar. And if there's any just ardent hairs there, just give them a pull. But on my heads, on my working fly, the flies I fish, I like it kind of rough like this. I don't want it really tight and packed. You'll see, a lot of the commercial flies are really packed tightly, and that's mostly just to, make it look shiny and new for selling them. But for a fly and I don't want it really packed tight. Notice I didn't ever pack the hair. I did 2 spins. I've got a really nice big fluffy head now. See how broad that head is? And it's not really tight. There's nothing like a bass bug on this. It's just really loose. It'll take water into it very quickly, so if it's packed really tight, it's more like a popper, and when you try to make it go underwater, it's going to fight you all the time. If it's loose like this, it's not going to fight you. It'll absorb water around it, and it'll dive for you a lot quicker than the other ones. You see how flat this bottom is? There's a couple little hairs here. If you want to take those out, take them out. It's not that. But it's flat on the bottom. That flatness is what tracks the fly, combined with the collar sticking out to the side, which is supposed to look like pectoral fins. That's going to keep it riding flat. And then these flank feathers cupped on the top is going to do the other part of the tracking, so it'll still articulate like crazy, but it'll go straight down in the water column. It'll be flat in the water. And that fly has become, this is one of the top flies we've had in the last 3 years, and just about everywhere I've fished, it's become really popular all over the country. But you can see it's a lot bigger than the Zoo Cougar. This is a number 4 Zoo Cougar. It's just throwing a lot more profile, a lot more action because of the articulation, and you see it's just a much bigger bite.